Hello and welcome to Cracking the Cryptic, and today, after quite a few Sudoku videos, back to cryptic crosswords. So good for you if you like that sort of thing, and if you prefer Sudokus, we'll be back to that tomorrow, I think. So today, this week, the Times started publishing the puzzles from the Times Championship, which happened a couple of weeks ago, and on Wednesday, we had the first of the first preliminary. Now, I didn't solve the puzzles from the first preliminary, and I haven't even had a go at them since. So this puzzle was new to me, apart from one word which I'd heard about in the discussion of people who'd had trouble at the event. But as I say, it was a new puzzle to me, and my solve of it. And what I really found was it was an incredibly difficult puzzle, like really hard to get anything going at all. Although it then got easier eventually, but really only after about 4 or 5 minutes. So having a look at one across, after silence, hands round the writer's contract, couldn't see that. One down, a long clue with something going in jam. That's the definition. Finally, 3 down. Record kept by Crusoe divided up, or kept by looked like a hidden indicator. And up means you can reverse Crusoe divided and find video in it. 11. Vehicle broken by butcher's van in badly neglected state. Couldn't see that. 8. Twirling. I don't think I get another one for quite a while. Maybe the ladies one saw approved. Back to one across. Contract. I did see that. Silence gives you sh, sh, and then the hands are right and left, R and L, around the writer's I've. If the writer's done something, I've done it. And that gives you shrivel. 4 down, begins with L for left, U for university, and rushed is ran, penning article the to give Lutheran. But now I get stuck again for a while. And I mean, okay, that's not too bad. There's 3 done in just over a minute, but I think I had a bit of a guess here. Venture into looked like enter, and trouble for corporation. Corporation in the sense of a stomach could be enteritis. It was right, although I wasn't 100% certain when I first filled it in, so it's kind of venture into Microsoft's domain, enter IT, and then is, and that makes up enteritis. 7 down, medical department that constantly admits horsemen. Couldn't figure that one out. 6 looked like it had a lot of possible anagram material. What's in Bronte, novel read twice, is inspiring English. I was looking at anagrams of Bronte, EH, for what? But then read twice, maybe twice the word read. Very confusing. 13 across, something meaning particular. Couldn't see that. 10 down, black grape, looked like a wine grape that I couldn't think of. Intertwined with the lush grapevine. Could it be an anagram of lush grapevine? 6 down, having another go at that. And this is the stage where I really just jump around the clues, returning to ones. I'd really rather solve one with a letter in the grid, at least, because that's quite helpful, but anything would be nice. And I mean, I do start just hopping around the bottom of the grid, trying to find something to give me some traction here, and I'm beginning to worry that it's going to take me an awfully long time to finish at this point. Cereal, tons on ground mostly. There's a lot of words that have a lot of synonyms in that. Back supporter in my place. Just can't see anything there. Primary colour, nobody's drawing in. Brilliantly worded clue, actually. No. Back to 1 down. Bad sign. Boarding Sierra to travel around. One may end up in jam. I mean, I couldn't see what was going on there at all. It's very hard, actually. In fact, I've only just now worked out how that did work. 2 down. Cold food after bread is shock. That's one of those I could have got. I'm just not really thinking clearly. I'm getting so worried now. About at this point, I start working out what bits of the clues matter. Butcher's van is the beginning of butcher, so the letter B. And then finally, I get some traction here. So I'll just pause the video for a second. Wits, heartless, riposte, wounded. If you take the heart, the middle letter out of riposte, and then wounded, so you anagram those letters, there is a word for wit there. There's quite a few, priest and sprite, but esprit means wit. So that's possibly quite useful. Although I still can't do 6 down, I can do 7 down now. Medical department that constantly admits horsemen. So ENT is the medical department, and it's admitted by constantly, which is ever. And you get eventer, which is someone who rides a horse for a 3-day event. 9 across, couldn't quite see this. Great Britain's flipping harsh, very, very well worded clue. Quite hard to see how that works. Flipping often means reversing, but I couldn't see what to do. But finally, 10 down, I'll just pause it for a second again here. Black grape intertwined with the lush grapevine. Well, I finally stopped. I mean, there's so much possible anagram material there. We have to reduce something, and in fact, B grape and the lush add up to 13 letters. So an anagram of those things, and suddenly I'm looking for an answer that means grapevine. Well, there aren't that many grapevine, and given these letters in the grid, I suddenly thought of bush telegraph, and that's clearly got the right letters from black, grape, and the lush. It's a very well-worded clue, though, with grape and grapevine in it. So now there's not many words ending E, something B, acerb, ace, and then BR reversed. Now, this, I've paused it again, this Bronte novel clue, it's really very clever. What is novel, i.e. anagrammed, is red, and then is twice. So red, is, and E for English, going in that somewhere. And it's something in Bronte, and it's not a character or any figure of speech. It's that little diacritic over the E, which is called a diaeresis. Now, I believe on the day, quite a lot of people had problems spelling this, and even though you can parse this clue carefully and get all the letters out of it, it is quite tempting to end it in ES, but the correct spelling is diaeresis. I think I'm running now. Well, not that fast, but there we go. So, night, travelling far is in China. Well, this is one I hadn't looked at before. That's fairly good, but again, maybe the S and the L have really helped here. Anagram of far is in PAL for China, friend. Both slang terms in British English, and that's Parsifal. Spray, bound to release nitrogen. Well, that's clearly a word losing N, and to bound is to spring, so we sprig. And by now I'm actually going along fairly fast, 6 minutes in, but finally getting really going. Car to go wrong on a boring day, that's a lovely clue. To go wrong is to E-double-R, and A is A. And boring in this case means going into, penetrating, drilling into. And the day is fry for Friday. And once you put fry, you get Ferrari. Car you probably hope doesn't go wrong on a boring day. 23, places quotes from speakers. So that's sites, sounding like CIT, that's sites. 27, apt to see red. Snake is asp, in fancy is wish, and waspish is apt to see red. It's not quite what. I suppose it does mean tending to anger, but it's not quite how I'd have characterised it. 16 down, what, I hadn't looked at this before, and maybe I'd have got it immediately if I had. What some musicians do before and after concert. So if you're a violinist who does very well and gets applause, take a bow before and take a bow afterwards, which is a lovely idea. 28, 25 I got basic, based on the letters in the grid, and another pause here. B, T, A, and A, they're the only word I could think of, and I think bases helped when I read the clue, is substrata, and that works from vessels being subs, and then tart, meaning sharp, turning, and heading for army is the letter A, the A being the heading of the word army. I was quite pleased with this solve eventually. I mean, again, it probably helps that I've read so many of these clues before during the puzzle, and there's a lot of theory that one's brain is turning them over even while you're not actually thinking about them. Primary colour, nobody's drawing in. We have to split up primary and colour. Primary is actually the definition. The colour is a colour you sometimes find in sets of crayons and things. It's umber, and if none is drawing in umber, you get number 1, which is primary. It's a very neatly worded clue. Now we then have, where did I go to next? 21 down, back supporter in my place. I'm not sure if I could get that from just the O and the S, pretty hard still. But worth remembering that my can just be an exclamation there. Now, 18 down, the affected air. Or air supply, not air supply as it looks like it reads, but if you have air supply, you get an anagram of air following a word for affected, and that's the unexpected intoxicating substance here, which is in fact Campari. Oh, didn't solve that straight away there. 14 down, gull, say, overturned angler's device to get fish. Well, I was thinking about a rod for an angler's device, and overturning that would give door at the end, but that didn't seem right. So what goes with a rod? Well, a reel. And you could put reel at the end of this phrase, and you'd have some sort of eel. Well, I only know a moray eel or a conger eel, so conger eel looks right. And that works as to gull is to con. Say is e.g., as in, for example, overturn. And then, so you've got con, ge, and reel, and that makes you this fish, conger eel. So that went in due course. I have actually restarted the video, clearly just thinking about why it is conger eel. Cereal, tons is the letter T on the end of most of ground, which in this case is milled. So most of that gives you milled. Mill and T is millet. The back supporter is a corset. My is core, and place is set. And there goes Campari. And then 17 across, I've looked at this before. Withdraw money that's paid regularly to carry around. Well, around can be, maybe it can't be but I often think it can. It can certainly be C or CA for circa. And in this case, the money that's paid regularly is rent. And that's carrying CA to give recant or withdraw. And 24 across, do away with Times. Editorial's introduction, the Times of eras. Editorial's introduction is the letter E, and do away with. Well, that helps in one down, something to go in jam. And you've got those letters at the end, R, N, and E. And I could see that this must be Seville orange. I didn't actually manage to parse it fully at the time, but the bad sign is actually evil Leo. Boarding Sierra, the letter S in the phonetic alphabet, and range for travel round, and the Seville orange end up in jam. I mean, it's a very well worded clue, very misleading. So 13 across, particular, especial fits. And that's a lapse with ice in it, all read backwards or from the east. The vehicle is a limo with that B in it to give limbo, the badly neglected state. Now the cold food is obviously roll mop, with roll for bread and mop for a shock of hair. Approved is validated at 8 across, which is lav backwards. And one saw is I dated. Many dogs at 5 across taking the lead off. The many can be oodles. Those dogs would be poodles. And that leaves 5 down, which looks like oddity. Offbeat individual, that fits. Note lifted is doe written upwards. And then song is ditty without one of its T for tangos. Tough crossword. As I say, it came together reasonably quickly afterwards, and my time in the end was, I think it was 8 minutes 44. Now, I mean, that's not fast for me, but this was a hard puzzle. As you can see from the rubric up here, 90 competitors in Heat 1 of the Crossword Championship. 36 solved this puzzle correctly within the hour given for the 3 puzzles. 22 competitors only managed 3 all-correct solutions. So a lot of people would be quite happy with a time of 8:44 for that. But as I say, after 4 or 5 minutes, I still had well over half the grid to fill in, and certainly wasn't enjoying it at that stage. But it's a very clever puzzle. So I hope that's helped you understand some of the clues, especially if you competed in that heat. Very, very tough puzzle, as they all were on the day. So I hope that's been of some help to you. Do subscribe if you enjoy the channel, and like us, and feel free to tweet us or send or retweet our tweets. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again on Cracking the Cryptic.